So the benefits are endless. And you think we will start to see this come into play within the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, well, I mean, very clearly, if you accept the EIDAS timing, EIDAS 2 timing, by the end of next year, as a resident of a European country, I should be able to get one of these things, right? So who knows? It may slip, it may not, but it's that kind of early, that's the early adopter timeline, but potentially early adopter en masse, right? With the number of citizens here. Other countries are doing the same things right now. Travel and hospitality is a real paradox in this sense, because travel and hospitality, I think we have to all agree, is not an early adopter of technology, right? Is a late follower in many senses. Yet, travel and hospitality has some of the most complicated, complex business transactions that don't map well to a fully digital world, right? So, think about, you're in Australia. So if I go to Australia, what am I going to do? I might go on business, but I'd be stupid to go on business and turn around and come straight back, right?
Yeah.
So I would want to turn it into a staycation of some kind, right? Yes. So I am interacting with multiple travel providers. And, if you think about it, every restaurant I go in, every bus I take, every restaurant, travel provider, theater, shows, tourism event, all of those things are part of what I want to do. In the old days, I'd go along to, the high street and find a blue rinse travel agent and ask that person to book it all for me, yes. Right? That is not available to me today. So I now have to be my own travel agent, and I spend days and days and days having to research this stuff and collate this information that I need and try and make it usable. And it's not usable. And so every time I get somewhere, I've got to find the same piece of information and give it again. So I really do have a reservation for this, but I can't find it. Where is it in my emails? No, that is not a good experience.
True.
Right? I will remember my staycation in Australia because I can't find the damn theater ticket that was sent to me, right? That is not a good experience. So it's very real and very painful, right? Very real and very painful, right? Because I only open a bank account occasionally, right? I travel all the time. So if I was in travel, if there was a visitor bureau, right, as there is in most of these places, that's a place where I would be saying, you know what, that's an ecosystem. Visitor bureau can create something, right? This technology plays out really well. Another opportunity area, we mentioned loyalty, just shifting of that, thinking about that. So airlines are fairly good exemplars. So you've got the airline alliances, right? Star Alliance, One World, and why isn't there something that actually works across travel providers properly? Why isn't there something that includes hotels and includes rail and includes ground transport and includes air? Why? Yeah. Why? Right? This would be the perfect. If you think this is an opportunity, and I think that's something that should exist, if you think this is an opportunity, then this underlying technology is absolutely the technology of choice for managing customer and business information flow for the purposes of commerce. Absolutely there. So there are people thinking like that, right? That's really what I'm saying. And as I said, if you're one of these people that says, well, I never use a version 1 product, I only use version 2, I'll sit back and wait, then you don't have to do anything, right? Don't have to do anything, because we're only just getting to very, very sort of beta testing version 1s.
Yep.
But if you're somebody who says, as soon as version 1 comes out, I want to be there with my solution. I want to get it. I don't want to be disintermediated. I want to be the one that gets the market share. Then heads up.
Yes.
Eyes open. Start looking at what's going on, because it's big. And one other obvious example, right? Just to give you a travel and hospitality example. So I've gone through my airport to airport experience, whatever I've done. And I'm now heading to my hotel.
Yep.
I'm just about to get into a bus, right? I need ground transport. What happens when that ground transport's an autonomous vehicle, right? How do you tell it where you want to go? How do you tell it that you actually can't walk properly and you need a seat? How do you tell it that it has to stop somewhere, right, en route because you got to pick something up?
Yeah.
Okay. That's an obvious one. Another one, same scenario. We're arriving, just taking the red eye in from somewhere, right? I arrived in Sydney from Hong Kong. I've taken that many times.
Yep.
Coming in an ungodly hour, and I've got bags with me. Why do I have to go to a hotel? I didn't need to go to a hotel. Just drop that. I want to go downtown. I've got my meeting starts in half an hour. Yeah. Why can't my bags just go a different route? You know, well, why can't the bags have an identity as well? Yep. Right? And if the bag has an identity, then you can broadcast that identity. You can track that identity. You can trust the services against that identity, because nobody's going to. You can't say, oh, well, was it a red one or a big one or a small one or a square one or a round one? No, it's that one. It's that identity, right? So what I'm saying is, think a little bit future. Think of the problems that you encounter every single day. Don't accept them, right?
Yeah. Wow. That's brilliant. I love that. I had a friend who lost his luggage in Hong Kong many years ago. And actually, he was in China, but the luggage got left in Hong Kong, and he made his way back so that he could identify which bag it was. It was there all the time for the 2 weeks, but they couldn't find it. And if the bag's got an identity, you're right, it's unique.
Well, there's a business, right? There's plenty of people who are trying. There's startup companies that are trying to address this problem right now, but what they lack is the identifier of the bag. Yep. Right. So if every bag you had, it would make every sense in the world, right? If my cat can have a subcutaneous identifier, why the hell can't my suitcase?
That's true. We've been doing that for years for our animals, right?
For goodness sake, how difficult is it? And with the decreasing cost and the technology efficiency and cost performance, surely you get to a price point where it's possible to do that on a $500 suitcase.
Easily. Yep. Easily.
So last example, travel disruption. All of us have sat on that plane that isn't going anywhere, right? And we're stuck in the middle of nowhere. Can't use your mobile phone, right? And your restaurant reservation is evaporating, your hotel room that you're going to have to pay for, the taxi guys that's sitting there waiting for you, and you'll never arrive. And you know that you might get there tomorrow, but then you're going to need another hotel reservation and another taxi, and you need to reschedule your meetings. How do you do that, right? All the information is available to you at that point, but you can do nothing about it, right? Because you're prohibited. You can't get access to your computer and your phone. You haven't got phone signal or whatever it is.
Yep.
That is exactly the world of autonomous agents, right? So think of a piece of software that's sitting above the information you have, has permissioned access to the information that you have, and that can do things for you in the event of certain things happening. That world is absolutely a viable world. So if I was the hotel technologist, hospitality and travel technologist, rather than, I don't want to sound disparaging here in any sense, but yelling at Alexa to turn on the lights in my hotel room, I'd actually be looking at something like that, which is a real problem that has yet to be solved, right?
Yep. With a true benefit. That's impressive.